He sat in my office looking puzzled. 71 years old, married for 45 of them, still sharp in conversation, still loved his morning walks. But something had changed. Not overnight, but slowly, like fog creeping in through a crack in the window. He said, "Doc, I still love her, but my body, it's not responding like it used to. I thought maybe it was just age catching up with me, but now I'm not so sure. If you're a man over 60 and this hits close to home, I want you to stay with me for the next few minutes, because what I'm about to share could explain exactly what's going on." Most men think that weakening erections, slower intimacy responses, or even that creeping numbness in the groin are just part of getting older. And yes, age changes the body. But what if the real problem wasn't your age at all? What if it was what's on your fork within the first 10 minutes of waking up? I've seen this time and again in my clinic. Men who feel like they're fading down there, who think it's their testosterone, their medications, or just bad luck. But more often than not, it's breakfast. Not because breakfast is bad, but because the wrong breakfast, day after day, quietly sabotages your blood flow, right where you need it most. You see, there's a trap most men fall into without even realizing it. They grab the same old breakfast, white toast, black coffee, maybe a muffin or cereal, thinking it's harmless. But what they don't know is that this combo does nothing to support the one critical thing their body needs more than ever after 60, nitric oxide. Without it, your blood vessels can't relax, your circulation slows, and the tissues in your lower body, the ones responsible for energy, strength, and sexual responsiveness, start to wither from the inside out. Here's the part that surprises most men. There are 4 simple, affordable, powerful foods that can reverse this trend naturally, without drugs, without side effects, and they're probably already in your kitchen. These foods work together like a team to restore your body's ability to circulate blood where it counts, not just to your heart or legs, but to your pelvis, your groin, your manhood, the place where confidence lives and dies. And when you start your morning with them, in the right way at the right time, you set your entire day up for stronger blood flow, steadier energy, and a quiet but powerful return of the man you used to be. I'll show you exactly what these 4 foods are, how they work, and how to prepare them for maximum benefit. You won't need a pill. You won't need to change everything. You just need to start your day differently. So if you're over 60 and wondering why things aren't quite working like they used to, maybe it's not your age. Maybe it's breakfast. Let's fix that. Starting tomorrow morning. I'm Dr. Lily Anderson. For the past 20 years, I've worked with thousands of men over 60 who walked into my clinic carrying the same quiet frustration. They weren't broken, they weren't lazy, and they weren't weak. They were just looking for real answers without being judged, rushed, or told to just accept it. Some were former athletes, others were teachers, mechanics, musicians, strong men who had worked hard all their lives. But beneath the surface, they all carried a similar question. Why is this happening to me? And what can I do about it? I specialize in men's health and nutrition with a focus on age-related circulation challenges. And what I've learned after 2 decades is this. Your body wants to heal. Your blood vessels want to open. Your confidence wants to come back. But you have to give your body the right materials to do its job. And that doesn't come from a pill bottle. It comes from your plate. The truth is, your body already knows how to restore healthy blood flow, rebuild oxygen delivery to the groin, and reawaken strength and stamina. It's not about chasing hormones or gimmicks. It's about feeding your vascular system, consistently, intelligently, and gently. In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact 4 foods I recommend most often to my senior patients. They're not exotic. They're not expensive. But when combined in the right way, they create a powerful synergy that restores circulation exactly where it matters most, without drugs, without risk, and without delay. You'll learn why each food works, how to use it, when to eat it, and even how to prepare it so your body absorbs the nutrients fully. And if you've ever felt like your mornings were missing something, this might just be the answer you've been waiting for. So stay with me. What you'll discover next could be the first step in reclaiming the energy, the confidence, and the intimacy that age was never supposed to take away. Let's begin with the first food. It's small, humble, and dark in color. But don't underestimate it. For many men, it's the spark that changes everything. Food number 1, black beans, the quiet powerhouse. Let's begin with one of the most overlooked circulation-boosting foods sitting quietly in your pantry, black beans. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Beans. Really? Aren't those just carbs and gas? But hear me out. For men over 60, black beans are one of nature's most potent vascular repair tools, if you know how to use them. You see, black beans are loaded with a powerful amino acid called L-arginine. This is the raw material your body needs to produce nitric oxide, the very compound that helps relax your blood vessels, improve blood flow, and deliver oxygen-rich circulation to your legs, your heart, and yes, your groin. When you were younger, your body produced plenty of nitric oxide. That's why blood flowed freely, morning energy was strong, and your confidence felt solid. But after 60, your body's natural ability to produce nitric oxide drops significantly, sometimes by more than 50%. That's where black beans come in. Just 2 tablespoons of properly prepared black beans in the morning can provide enough L-arginine, magnesium, and anthocyanins to kickstart your body's nitric oxide production naturally. That means relaxed blood vessels, smoother circulation, and increased oxygen delivery to the pelvic region, where strong blood flow makes all the difference. And we're not talking theory here. Dr. D. Fonca Hernandez, a leading vascular researcher, found that a single serving of black beans could raise nitric oxide levels to nearly the same degree as low-dose prescription vasodilators. In other words, this humble food does what expensive drugs try to do, but without the side effects. But here's the key. Preparation matters. To unlock their full potential and avoid digestive discomfort, black beans should be soaked overnight or pressure cooked. This reduces compounds like oligosaccharides that can cause gas and bloating, especially in older digestive systems. Cook them gently, rinse them well, and start small. Even just a quarter cup added to your oatmeal or morning bowl can start making a difference. And the benefits go beyond nitric oxide. Black beans are packed with soluble fiber that helps remove excess LDL cholesterol, the sticky kind that clogs arteries and slows blood flow. They also contain ferulic acid and caffeic acid, 2 plant compounds that shield your blood vessels from oxidative stress, helping preserve the nitric oxide your body works so hard to make. What does this all mean in real life? Many of my patients report noticeable changes within 2 to 3 weeks. Warmer hands and feet, fewer leg cramps, and, perhaps most encouraging, stronger morning energy and more reliable physical response. One retired teacher told me, "I don't know what it is, doc, but I feel like something's finally waking up again." That something is circulation, and it often begins with something as simple as a spoonful of beans. Now, a few quick notes before we move on. If you're on blood thinners, don't worry. Black beans contain only modest amounts of vitamin K. Just keep your doctor in the loop. And if you have gout, enjoy them in smaller portions, as they contain natural purines. Bottom line, black beans are not just a side dish. They're a vascular therapy in disguise. Gentle, powerful, affordable, and made for mornings like yours. Up next, we'll look at a warm, comforting food that does more than fill your stomach. It rebuilds your arteries and supports testosterone function, especially when paired with 2 simple toppings. Let's talk about steel-cut oats. Food number 2, steel-cut oats with almond flakes and chia seeds. Now let's move to a food that's as comforting as it is powerful. A warm bowl of steel-cut oats topped with toasted almond flakes and soaked chia seeds. You may have eaten oats before, but likely not this way. And you may not realize just how much this one simple breakfast can do for your circulation, especially down there. Let's start with the base, steel-cut oats. Unlike instant or rolled oats, steel-cut oats are less processed and higher in beta-glucan, a special kind of soluble fiber. This compound acts like a sponge in your arteries, soaking up LDL cholesterol and flushing it out before it hardens your blood vessels. Why does this matter? Because hardened, stiff arteries are like clogged plumbing. Blood can't get where it needs to go, especially to the pelvic region, where firm, reliable circulation is everything. In fact, clinical studies show that eating oats daily can reduce LDL cholesterol by up to 10% in just 4 weeks. That's enough to widen your arteries and increase blood flow noticeably, not just to your heart, but to your groin as well. But that's not all. Steel-cut oats are also rich in a rare group of antioxidants called avenanthramides. These compounds activate the eNOS enzyme, which helps your body release more nitric oxide, the same molecule we talked about earlier. They also suppress NF-κB, a protein that causes chronic inflammation inside your blood vessels. Lowering that inflammation helps your arteries stay flexible, open, and responsive. So the oats aren't just lowering cholesterol, they're healing your blood vessels from the inside out. Now let's talk about the toppings. First up, toasted almond flakes. Almonds are packed with magnesium, a mineral essential for relaxing the smooth muscle tissue inside your arteries. Think of magnesium as a natural vasodilator. It helps your blood vessels open wider, easing pressure and improving flow. Almonds also contain polyphenols, plant compounds that protect your arteries from oxidative stress and help your nitric oxide last longer. But here's a key point. You don't need a lot. Just 1 to 2 tablespoons of almond flakes are enough. They're calorie-dense, so moderation matters, especially if you're watching your weight. Next, chia seeds, but not dry. You want them soaked overnight in water or unsweetened almond milk. Why? Because dry chia seeds absorb liquid rapidly and can swell in your throat or stomach, causing discomfort. Soaking turns them into a gentle gel-like texture that hydrates your gut and slows digestion. Inside that gel are powerful plant nutrients, including ALA, alpha-linolenic acid, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. ALA reduces arterial stiffness and supports healthy blood pressure without medication. It also enhances endothelial function, helping blood flow more easily to your lower regions. And chia seeds do something else remarkable. They act as natural diuretics, encouraging the release of excess fluid and easing the workload on your heart. That means less resistance and stronger blood delivery where it counts. One of my patients, a 64-year-old accountant, had struggled with non-alcoholic fatty liver disease and metabolic issues. I suggested he ditch the sugary boxed cereal and start his mornings with this simple combo: steel-cut oats, almond flakes, and soaked chia. 8 weeks later, his blood tests showed 12% drop in insulin resistance, doubling of endothelial progenitor cells, your body's natural repair crew for blood vessels. But what struck him most wasn't the lab results. He said, and I quote, "My confidence in the bedroom came back before my labs did." That's the power of breakfast done right. This isn't some magic trick. It's not extreme. It's not expensive. It's just real food, timed well, combined smartly, and working with your body instead of against it. So tomorrow morning, swap the toast, put down the pastry, and reach for something that actually feeds the man you want to be, inside and out. Food number 3, green tea, the gentle circulation booster. Now let's talk about something you probably already have in your kitchen, but have never truly used as medicine. Green tea. Not sugary bottled versions, not the generic kind sitting in your cupboard for years. I'm talking about high-quality, loose-leaf green tea, especially Suncha, brewed gently and consumed with purpose. For many of my patients, this simple drink has become a quiet daily ritual that changes everything. So why is green tea so powerful for circulation, especially down there? It all comes down to one superstar compound, EGCG, epigallocatechin gallate. EGCG is a catechin, a type of antioxidant that does something remarkable. It activates a biochemical pathway called PI3K ACT, which helps stimulate your body's endothelial nitric oxide synthase, ENOS enzyme. That's the same enzyme that triggers nitric oxide release, the key to relaxed blood vessels and strong, steady blood flow. In other words, green tea doesn't just hydrate you. It literally tells your arteries to open up. In one clinical study, just a single cup of green tea increased flow-mediated dilation, FMD, the ability of your arteries to expand, by up to 30% in just 2 hours. That's huge, because a man's ability to perform sexually is directly tied to how well his arteries can respond under pressure. And many of those arteries, especially the cavernosal arteries in the penis, are small, delicate, and easily restricted. But green tea doesn't stop at nitric oxide. It also protects that nitric oxide from oxidative breakdown. Think of nitric oxide like a message your body is trying to deliver. Green tea makes sure the message actually gets through, intact, strong, and in time. There's more. EGCG has been shown to reduce arterial stiffness, lower systolic blood pressure, and improve insulin sensitivity, all of which play key roles in keeping circulation strong throughout the day. And here's a trick I teach my patients. Add a squeeze of lemon. Why? Because the vitamin C from lemon triples EGCG absorption in your gut. More EGCG equals more nitric oxide equals better blood flow. Now, here's how to use it right. Use loose leaf green tea, not prepackaged bags. Steep it in 80 degrees Celsius water, not boiling. Boiling destroys the catechins you need. Steep for 3 minutes max. Drink 1 to 2 cups per day. Ideally 1 in the morning and 1 about 1 hour before intimacy if desired. One of my patients, Archie, you remember him, started doing just that. He replaced his afternoon soda with a small pot of Suncha green tea. 3 weeks later, he wasn't just sleeping better, he was walking taller. His duplex ultrasound showed an 18% increase in cavernosal peak systolic velocity, the speed of blood entering the penile arteries. And he felt it. Not just physically, emotionally. He told me, "Doc, my kettle's cheaper than Viagra." Now, a few quick notes. If you're taking cholesterol meds, like statins, space green tea, and your medication at least 2 hours apart, EGCG can interact with the liver enzymes that process certain drugs. Also, don't overdo it. Stick to under 5 cups a day. High doses from green tea supplements, not tea, can stress the liver. And no, despite internet rumors, green tea does not lower testosterone at normal drinking levels. In fact, its circulation benefits may support healthy hormone activity indirectly by reducing inflammation and improving blood flow to the testes. Green tea is more than a drink. It's a vascular tune-up, a quiet reset, and a gentle way to restore intimacy without a prescription. Tomorrow morning, swap that second cup of coffee for a calming cup of green tea. Drink slowly, breathe deeply, and know that with each sip, you're fueling your blood flow where it matters most. Food number 4, blueberries, the small fruit with big circulation power. Let's wrap up this powerful breakfast quartet with one of the most underrated weapons in your kitchen. Blueberries, they may look small, but don't be fooled. These dark blue fruits hold one of the highest concentrations of circulation-enhancing compounds in nature. What's their secret? A group of pigments called anthocyanins, the same compounds that give blueberries their rich, deep color, are also among the most effective natural boosters of nitric oxide production and arterial flexibility. And for men over 60, that combination means everything. You see, when you first wake up, your body is in a vulnerable state. Nitric oxide levels are low. Oxidative stress is high. Your arteries are stiff, slow, resistant. That's why morning is the perfect time to eat blueberries. They go to work quickly. In fact, clinical studies show that just 240 grams, about a full cup, can improve flow-mediated dilation, FMD, by up to 2% within hours. Now, 2% might not sound like much, but in vascular science, it's a big deal. That kind of increase in FMD means your arteries are expanding better, blood is moving faster, and oxygen is reaching the parts of your body that need it most, including your pelvic region. But here's what makes blueberries truly unique. They don't just help once. They train your body to improve over time. When eaten regularly, the anthocyanins in blueberries are converted by your gut into bioactive compounds like protocatechuic acid and vanillic acid, which do more than just support blood flow. They help your genes regulate vascular tone, inflammation, and cell adhesion, all key factors in whether your circulation thrives or declines. And the effects are not just physical. One of my patients, a 70-year-old retired smoker, had been on blood pressure meds for years and used prescription support for intimacy. I encouraged him to make one small change: add frozen blueberries to plain Greek yogurt 3 mornings a week. 6 months later, we tested his brachial artery function again. His FMD had doubled, from 3% to 6%. More importantly, he told me, "I feel lighter in my legs. I sleep better. I'm more present, and I've cut my ED medication in half." That's the kind of quiet transformation food can spark. Now let's bust a common myth. Fruit has sugar. Isn't that bad for circulation? The truth? A full cup of blueberries has about 10 grams of natural sugar, less than a slice of white bread. And because it's paired with fiber and anthocyanins, it doesn't spike your insulin. It actually helps stabilize blood sugar, which is great for long-term vascular health. And yes, blueberries are safe for most people, even those on blood thinners. They're low in vitamin K, so the risk of interaction is minimal. If you've had kidney stones before, stick with half a cup, as blueberries do contain oxalates. Otherwise, they're one of the gentlest, most powerful foods you can add to your morning. Fresh or frozen, it doesn't matter. Just make them part of your morning plate. Because every time you do, you're supporting real-time blood flow. You're relaxing those small, stubborn arteries in your lower body. You're giving your vascular system the raw materials it's quietly craving. And you're sending your body a simple but powerful message. We're not done yet. His name was Archie. 72 years old, retired postal worker, widowed once, now remarried and genuinely trying to feel like himself again. He walked into my office with a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Sharp wit, clean button-up shirt, still doing crossword puzzles in pen. But underneath that calm surface was a quiet frustration he hadn't voiced to anyone, not even his wife. "Doc," he said, glancing down, "I'm not in pain, but something feels off. I've got no drive, no edge. She hasn't said anything, but I know she feels it too. I just want to feel like a man again." It wasn't the first time I'd heard those words, but it never gets easier hearing them. So we started simple. No prescriptions, no pressure, just a conversation. "What does your morning look like?" I asked. He shrugged. "Black coffee, maybe a slice of toast. Then I sit down with the paper. After that, I usually feel like I need a nap. Sometimes I skip breakfast altogether." There it was, the pattern I'd seen over and over again. When you're over 60, skipping breakfast or reaching for empty carbs doesn't just leave you hungry. It quietly starves your circulatory system. Your nitric oxide levels are already at their lowest in the morning. And when you don't give your body the right tools to build it back up, blood flow stays sluggish. Muscles feel heavy. Intimacy becomes distant. So I gave Archie a challenge. "For 2 weeks, no more empty breakfasts," I said. "Instead, give your body what it actually needs to get circulation moving again. 1 scoop of black beans, a warm bowl of steel-cut oats, a handful of blueberries, and a cup of hot Suncha green tea. That's it. Try it. Then come back and tell me what changed." He looked skeptical, but curious. "Beans and berries? That's it. That's it." 3 weeks later, Archie was back in my office. This time, the smile reached his eyes. "Doc," he said, "you were right. My kettle's cheaper than Viagra." He laughed, and I laughed with him. But then he paused, got serious for a second, and added something I'll never forget. "I'm not saying I'm 25 again, but I don't feel invisible anymore. I feel present, alive. I can tell she feels it too. His results weren't just emotional. We ran follow-up tests. His cavernosal peak systolic velocity, the measure of how fast blood flows into the penile arteries, had improved by 18%. For context, even a 10% improvement is enough to restore performance in men with vascular issues. But what mattered more than numbers was how he felt. He was walking more, sleeping better. He'd picked up his guitar again. The quiet fog had lifted. And it all began, not with a pill, but with breakfast. Archie's story is not unusual. I've seen it play out time and again. It's never just about the food, it's about the signal you send to your body when you feed it right, when you stop surrendering and start rebuilding, when you give your arteries a reason to open and your heart a reason to hope. So if you're sitting there, like Archie once did, wondering if it's too late, it's not. What comes next isn't about chasing youth. It's about reclaiming vitality at any age and any season. And sometimes that journey starts with nothing more than a spoonful of black beans and a cup of green tea. Now let's take a moment to unpack what's really going on inside your body. Because when men understand the why, they're more likely to follow through on the how. You see, after 60, your circulatory system begins to change. Not just in your heart or legs, but in the most personal, intimate areas of your body. And it all starts with one tiny, invisible molecule, nitric oxide. Think of nitric oxide like the oil that keeps your internal engine running smoothly. It relaxes your blood vessels, allowing them to widen. That widening means more oxygen-rich blood can flow freely to your muscles, organs, and especially the delicate tissues in your pelvic region. Without it, everything slows down. Blood moves like molasses. You feel colder, tighter, heavier. And yes, erections become weaker, less predictable, or vanish altogether. When you were younger, your body made nitric oxide effortlessly. Just standing up, moving, or seeing your partner could trigger its release. But after 60, your body's ability to produce nitric oxide drops significantly, by up to 75% in some cases. And the result? You feel it, in your legs, in your chest, and yes, in your bedroom. Now here's where food becomes your medicine. Certain nutrients, like L-arginine, magnesium, anthocyanins, flavonoids, and omega-3s, can reactivate your nitric oxide production naturally. Let me explain using a simple metaphor. Imagine your blood vessels are garden hoses. When you're 30, those hoses are flexible, smooth, and water flows easily. But by the time you reach 60, those hoses start to stiffen, bends appear, cracks form, the pressure builds up, and the flow slows down. Now imagine pouring warm water through that hose. The warmth expands it, the kinks loosen, the water starts moving again. That's what these foods do. They act like warm water for your vascular system. Take black beans, for example. Their L-arginine triggers the release of an enzyme called eNOS, short for endothelial nitric oxide synthase. That enzyme sends a signal to your blood vessels. Relax, open up, let the blood through, or chia seeds. They contain ALA, a plant-based omega-3, which cools down inflammation inside your arteries and helps blood pressure drop naturally, without drugs. Then there's green tea, especially Suncha, which contains EGCG, a powerful antioxidant that not only fights damage inside your vessels, but also stimulates your nitric oxide pathways. And finally, blueberries. These little fruits contain anthocyanins, plant pigments that not only widen your arteries, but also protect nitric oxide from breaking down too quickly. You see, nitric oxide doesn't last long on its own. It's fragile. It disappears in seconds unless you protect it. That's why these foods aren't just opening your blood vessels. They're keeping them open. Now let's talk about why mornings matter. Your nitric oxide levels are lowest in the first hour after you wake up. That's why your legs may feel stiff, your hands cold, your energy sluggish. but it's also your greatest opportunity to reset. When you eat these foods in the morning, before your body hits that crash, you create a powerful cascade. Nitric oxide rises, inflammation drops, circulation improves, confidence returns. And it's not just theory. Studies show that simple dietary changes can increase something called flow-mediated dilation, or FMD, by up to 2% in just a few weeks. That may sound small, but in vascular science, that's a big deal. A 2% increase in FMD can lead to major improvements in energy, performance, and responsiveness. So no, you don't need to memorize every chemical name. You don't need a medical degree. You just need to remember this. Your body still knows how to heal. It just needs the right signals. And those signals, they start at your breakfast table. Here's the truth that most men over 60 never hear. You are not broken. You are not past your prime. You are not too late. You're just missing the right rhythm. Most of my patients don't walk in asking for miracles. They just want to feel present again. They want to wake up without that fog, that fatigue, that quiet sense of fading in their own bodies. And for every man who's told me, I don't even know where to start, I've said the same thing. Just start with one food, one change, one morning. That's it. You don't need a perfect diet. You don't need a fancy gym. You don't need to be who you were at 25. You just need to begin. One man started with a spoonful of black beans in his oatmeal. Another added a cup of green tea next to his newspaper. A third swapped his toast for steel-cut oats and almond flakes. No drama, no pressure. Just a quiet shift in how they began the day. And day by day, the body noticed. Circulation warmed, energy steadied, confidence returned. It's easy to believe change has to be big to be real, but the most lasting change is often small and consistent. It's not about fixing everything overnight. It's about sending your body a new message. I'm still here. I still care. And I'm not giving up. Even if you've skipped breakfast for years, even if you've relied on pills to get through, even if you've convinced yourself this is just aging, you can still turn this around. I've seen men in their 80s reclaim energy they thought was lost forever. I've seen couples reconnect in ways they thought were behind them. I've seen strength return where doubt once lived, and every story began the same way, not with a supplement, not with a procedure, but with a plate, a fork, and a decision to try. So tomorrow morning, before you reach for the usual, pause. Look at your breakfast as something more than just food. It's not just fuel. It's not just habit. It's your first act of healing. One spoonful, one bowl, one sip. That's how it begins. If you've made it to this point in the video, I want to say something directly to you. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. For yourself, for your health, for your future. Because most men never do. Most brush these topics aside. They suffer in silence. They convince themselves it's too late or too complicated or too embarrassing to talk about. But not you. You stayed. You listened. You gave your body a chance to be understood. And that matters. Now the question is, what will you do with what you've learned? You don't need to start with all 4 foods. You don't need to throw away everything in your kitchen. You just need to choose one. One small act. One quiet decision. That's how momentum builds. And if you're not sure where to begin, try what Archie did. Black beans, warm oats, a cup of green tea, a handful of blueberries. Then watch what happens. Not just in your lab numbers, but in how you move, how you feel, how you connect. Your mornings matter more than you think. They shape your blood flow, they influence your hormones, they set the tone for confidence, energy, and yes, your intimate vitality. So here's my invitation. If you're going to try just one of these foods tomorrow morning, drop a 1 in the comments. Let me know you're in. Let me know you're choosing to fight, not fade. If something wasn't clear, drop a 0, and I'll do my best to answer. This channel isn't just about videos. It's a growing community of men like you, curious, honest, hopeful, and committed to writing a stronger second act. So if this message gave you clarity, comfort, or even a small sense of power, share it with someone you care about, a brother, a friend, a neighbor. You never know whose life a video can quietly change. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I invite you to. Because each week we dive deeper into the science of vitality, circulation, hormones, habits, strength, and how real men over 60 can reclaim what matters most. In the next video, I'll show you a common fruit juice that seems healthy, but quietly shrinks your circulation when consumed in the morning. You won't want to miss that. But for now, I want to leave you with this. You're not past your peak. You're not behind. You're standing right on time, with everything still ahead of you. This is not the end. It's the beginning of your next chapter. And it starts tomorrow morning at your breakfast table. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.